All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in for this kickoff of a round. So this is our first in the series, and want to take just a couple extra minutes to introduce ourselves. So a round, the idea here is that we're a community of decision makers from software startups. Whether you have already raised your A round or you are in the process of raising your A round, this is the group. So we're looking for people to be members here who have some form of leadership position inside of that organization. So you might be a founder, you might be a VP of, a C-level of, a head of some department, whether that is sales, marketing, customer success, what have you. All of these people are our target members. So to begin, one of the things that I want to do while we wait for everyone to join is I want everybody that's inside of the meeting to be able to participate and just have this a chance to go in and introduce themselves. So the idea here is that you're going to go and present who you are. That is your name, role, company, and what you're looking for. Hopefully somebody else that is here has something that they can go and add to it. So for example, to introduce myself, I'm Josh Rosenthal. I'm a community manager here at A-Round, and I'm looking for leaders who are at startups and want to go and join A-Round. That would be the simple presentation for me. So I know that we have a few viewers right now, and if each of you would just take a moment just to give that information quite quickly. Yuri, I saw that you joined. Want to kick us off? No? Am I able to? I see. Pardon me. I realize that I've added you, but not enabled you to talk. So I'm going to go through, make sure that everyone can be a contributor. And Mr. Yuri, kick us off.
Yeah, fantastic. Nice to meet everybody. I was first a viewer, so I was talking, but I was muted.
Yeah.
Fantastic initiative, Josh. So congratulations. So I'm honored to be here. My name is Yuri Vandersloes from Holland, Amsterdam. I am a sales coach, trainer, B2B sales enthusiast by heart. I still give training and workshops around the world. And next to that, I'm also running a startup, another community called Sales Hookup. So I'm always looking for sales leaders, people that want to connect with other salespeople to join the platform, sales experts. And of course, I'm always looking for companies that are looking for sales advice, coaching, and guidance to see if I can help them to achieve the next level. And hopefully, if I do really well with my startup, I will be ready for an A round soon. So,
excellent,
guys.
Hey, excellent. So now, just I'm just kind of calling it out as it shows up. Mr. Sebastian, do you want to give just those quick bullet points?
Hello, am I on?
Yes.
Tick, tick, tick. Hi, I'm Sebastian Holst. I am founder of two solo startups right now. Details are not that important other than they're focused on AI, of course, and sales automation. And I'm here to learn as much as I can from as many smart and good-looking people as I can.
All right. Well, I'm not included in that last six, but I will. But one person who is Mr. Orr, who's here as well. If you want to jump on and just give you these 4 bullet points.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone. Great to connect. Excited to be here. My name is Orr. I am the founder of BitPulse. It's a stealth startup in the open economy in crypto. And I'm particularly looking for insights on how to leverage my network in order to drive growth momentum while still being stealth. I have a strong network, ex-Google, YouTube, Coinbase, etc. though to date I haven't been engaging on LinkedIn at all, simply because we're at stealth. And so when I saw this webinar, I was excited and immediately signed up.
Excellent. All right, Mr. Philip.
Hey guys, how's it going? So my name is Philip Grabowski. I'm the founder of Mensoy, which is a creative marketing agency that exclusively helps tech startups and startups that are, post Series A. So startups and scale-ups. And what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking to learn a bit about going through funding and initial rounds and meeting a bunch of really cool, intelligent people that can share a lot of cool stuff with me. So after this, I come out even more knowledgeable. So that's
Excellent. Excellent. And Mr. Daniel.
Hey, Josh, good to see you again. Good morning,
Wow.
everyone. Daniel Cohen-Numani, I'm the founder of Xperio AI. We are the first agentic AI solution for the consulting and professional services industry. And so I'm here to just network and meet other people. Josh and I met a few weeks back, so invited me and excited to be here.
Excellent. All right, and I don't know, Miss Christine, are you able to present? Because it looks like I can't make you anything more than a viewer. Do we have you? All right. Yeah, write me a message if I'm missing things here. But what I do want to do is make sure that we're leaving enough time, and so I want to bring it on over to Steve, who is the headliner of this kickoff event. I thought it'd be the most appropriate because here we are building a community while in stealth, which is exactly what we were doing, which is building this community. I don't know that I qualified for stealth, but we sure weren't going and making presentations here. So hang about. I think we might be able to give Christine. Are you able to present now? Christina? Oh, I think she's on mute.
Hello.
There
Hi.
we go. All right. Yeah. Do you want to, just before we kick off with Steve, do you want to give the 4 bullet points?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Nguyen. I'm the founder of Ghost Management. We focus on fractional operations that specializes in event marketing and management, social media and graphics, as well as executive services. Looking to learn more from entrepreneurs and leaders like yourselves, the lonely and exciting journey of starting and having your own business. So thank you for having me here.
Excellent. All right. Hey, each of you that are here are the type of people that we're looking for. That is, again, it's people that are getting ready to raise an arrow, and maybe you've already raised it, and the leadership there, as well as experts who can help the people do exactly that. So without further ado, let me kick it on over to Steve and take it away.
Thanks for kicking, Josh. You hear me okay?
You can just start the presentation. I think you should be able to take over from me.
Alrighty, I will try and share. How's that looking?
You're looking good.
Alrighty, I'll try and get going here. Big thanks to artificial intelligence for generating a picture of me that looks like the cover for What We Do in the Shadows. I seem to put a little bit of weight on when I become a vampire, but that's fine. And hi to some of the people who I know who are watching. Philip, hey, good to see you. Martin, who's on LinkedIn watching. I may give you a shout out later, Philip. Who am I? I haven't done my intro yet. I am someone who was and still is a hands-on practitioner in terms of application development. As a developer, I became obsessed with craftsmanship and quality more than 10 years ago to make sure that, maybe for my sins and all the bad code that I have written over my days. And then that just transitioned into security. It was a very, very natural transition from quality to security, and then education around security became a thing. I've transitioned through various startups and various forms of technologies, from traditional AppSec to cloud Kubernetes security. I self-indulgently, you can see the picture there, co-authored the O'Reilly book on cloud native application protection platforms, but on the side have been working with communities the entire time. I'm one of the co-organizers of the DevSecOps London community. We have over 5,000 members, and we just had a meeting with Philip about doing podcast and various other media editing for us. He's a big part of that scene. And I've been an early part of building community within several startups, including what happens when you're in stealth and you are struggling potentially for a format and ideas and inspiration. And I'm wide open to connecting with any and all of you. All right. I'm going to start off. I think some people think, all right, what do I do? How do I, and the example we just heard about, how do I engage with my LinkedIn world, my network that I've been working so hard at creating over time, and let them know what I'm up to. I think we don't want to let the cart get in front of the horse in this scenario. Like, we have to do a little bit of planning in advance about what it is we're doing. This will not just benefit your presence in social media, but also how you articulate yourself in the elevator or to your fellow employees, or how your sales team, once you start ramping them up, see this post-launch. Having this nailed down and having that discussion, perhaps with people like Christina, who are, have experience with, with marketing, et cetera, how they're going to interpret what your vision is. This is absolutely critical. Bouncing this idea, and I'm sure you've done it as a founder with your family and friends, but getting it documented is absolutely critical. Like, why do you exist? What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And what is my story? What makes my journey unique that gives some form of resonance with the people who you're speaking to? I mean, just a basic example from my personal experience of dealing with AI, in particular, the security around it. My vision is, for example, a world where AI empowers progress without compromising trust or security. What a wonderful world that would be. We are probably not anywhere near that at the moment, but I'm allowed to have that vision because I am a blue sky thinker. But getting it down so people agree and they're part of your tribe is really critical. Next, we're just going to go into the what. Like, what is my mission? Well, to secure the adoption of AI in modern software and delivering scalable protection and clarity of every state. It's a little generic, but I just wanted to give you an example of a vision/mission back to back, so you kind of feel the difference between the two. We start getting a little bit away from the blue sky thinking, being a little bit more specific as to who I want to speak to. And then from there, I'm going to look at how I'm going to do that and what my story is personally. And those are larger examples, so I'm going to just kind of skip over that for the purposes of time constraints right now. So once I've done that, I don't know how many of you have heard of Jobs to be Done framework. It sounds, we stick framework at the end of so many terms, and that's a very simple way of saying, what is it you're solving for your customers? And it's a way of getting more of a Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people approach to understanding the community. And if you've not read that book, I feel like it's pretty foundational it's got a terrible title, but it's very foundational for understanding the psychology of your prospects and customers in your community. And it's not, here is my feature. That's a real trap for people who are engineering-led startups, where I'm the person who thought of this amazing thing. I saw the problem, I built some of it myself, and now I've got funding, and I was able to articulate that well enough to VCs to get a little bit of seed fund. Try not to focus on the features, try and focus on the why and the vision, and translate that into, and AI is a great example for this. Right now, AI is more filled with uncertainty than potentially any other technology that has changed our world. If I were to talk about a functional solution, or what is the job I'm solving, I'm ensuring my customers' applications and agents are secure, ... longer statement to make sure. That is what we're doing. And while your community might hear that and they might go, okay, maybe there's 6 other startups saying the same thing. But if I can start with the fact that I know there is a lack of confidence in the use of AI, and even more so around the security of AI, I might lead with the emotional job to be done. I'm going to make you feel confident using AI. I'm going to make you feel ahead of the curve using AI. And that is where you already have a differentiator in perhaps the way you are messaging on LinkedIn, or you are messaging in your videos on YouTube, or even on Instagram. If you are looking to make your audience feel confident, it completely changes your brain. It changes the way you communicate. And I think that is a really important moment. Finally, how are you empowering? That's a job to be done. I need to empower my prospect or my subject or my community or my buyer eventually, hopefully, right? Such that the people at their workplace or their enterprise see them as the trusted advocate. How do I scale me? Well, this is how we do that. And again, that changes the way you speak. It changes the tone with which you address. It can be anything from a short conversation. It could be a podcast. It could be a LinkedIn post. All of this is understanding the combination of your vision. What is the true pain point? It may not be they need your feature. It might be they need a friend. They might need a partner in this journey. And knowing that is what's going to build that community. The reality, of course, and I'm sure a lot of you know this because people buy from people. You can see it everywhere in the industry. I used an example recently where if you go back to like the 70s and you look, or the 60s or 50s, and you look at a movie poster, they show these grand scenes of like a robot coming out of the sea and it's a spaceship and there's a person and the lasers are firing. You're supposed to like get wrapped up in the excitement. Now you see the same film and it's just a picture of Matt Damon looking stressed out, really close. Because it's the people that's not the brand, it's not the story. It's like when you personalize the message, you become the brand. Particularly in stealth, you have to recognize that is how it's got. That is what has got to happen. Showing empathy, showing that you are willing to respond and not just broadcast is key. Understanding what the personas really need. We talked about the jobs to be done framework can do that for you. We've already done that. And then one of my favorite subjects, differentiation. I like to use liquid death versus Fiji. They're choosing the archetype that defines you and your community. Who is your community? Are they rebels? Are they scared? Are they explorers? Are they on a journey? Once you realize who they are they eco-warriors, like for the Fiji brand? Once you know who they are and you can personify that, maybe even a combination of it, it's going to allow you to establish a method of differentiation that maybe you didn't have before. And I love liquid death because it's a can of water. Like when you're selling just about anything in this industry, particularly security, I can get open source security. That's water. That's the tap water. We have to differentiate the fact that, no, I'm selling really good water. Or maybe I'm selling normal water, but I put it in a cool can. Why? Because I'm understanding that I need to empower the person who's holding that can to look cool. No, they're not. They don't like energy drinks. They want to hold a Monster in their hand, but they don't want to freak out because of the amount of caffeine that's in it. But they want to look cool and they want to fit in. That's a great example of how to empower people with a boring subject. So once you know where you fit, only really then do we start deciding how to talk. And you have to start with the founders. The founders that are on here, you're the one who has to be on the spotlight. And believe it or not all founders like being in the spotlight. Some of them turn to dust. But you will get better over time, trust me. It's odd how you see founders in front of a crowd speaking in front of 10,000 people, and you're like, why are they all so good? Josh, why are you so good? And it's practice. It's trial by fire. I believe me, Josh wasn't always as good. And neither was I. But we do it so often that it starts to become more relaxed. But we need to understand that for anything I do, it's my company, and by the way, I actually used to have a clothing company, which is a completely out there story. And I knew I was the brand. I knew I had to be out there on stage. I knew when I did something, it reflected directly upon my brand. And I knew I had to signal leadership, confidence, and clarity about why I was doing what I was doing. Also, for those of you who have a marketing slant, media and conferences just like C-suite. Not necessarily CEOs. They want you to have a C in the title. Honestly, if you want to amplify some people in your company, just put a C in front of their name. And I'm the chief AI advocate. Sure. It helps because that's what the media wants to talk to. And as I said, the more you do it, the better you become. I started a podcast just so I would get better at talking to camera. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about beer. I only did it so I would get more confident talking to camera. That is all things that are going to make you better at what you do, even if it seems adjacent. Some use ghostwriters, and this is no shame in doing that. There are some very good advocates like myself who can write for you and make your CEOs and make your C-suite sound amazing. So if you're struggling with what to do on LinkedIn, there are plenty of services out there that can actually amplify you and make you way better. There's one called Founder OS, there's one called Founderland. Like, they all are out there to help you be better. However, then there are people like myself. We love being in the spotlight now. We've got the practice, we've got all the patter down. By the way, you know, it's the vampire theme thing here. This is, by the way, if anybody who knows what movie this is, I will buy you a beer. It's very old. One founder cannot cover every channel, and an advocate's multiply presence. While you speak to an exec and you talk about the larger picture, advocates can connect with your practitioners. And believe me, they outnumber your execs like 100+1. There's a lot of bottom-up activity you can do at conferences, smaller meetups, and webinars and podcasts where you can expand your reach 10x, 100x. An advocate builds trust. Believe it or not, sometimes the people who are doing the real work don't want to hear from the CEO. They actually kind of don't trust them because they have an agenda. Obviously, they're going to say their product is the world-leading #1, whatever it says on the front of the website for doing whatever it is. An advocate will get hands-on and show you how it's #1. And I think that builds a lot of credibility, even with your in stealth. Now, we'll talk about how to do this in stealth in a moment, because you're like, well, how do I do this without showing the product of the brand, Steve? We'll come to it. Two sides of the same coin. A couple quick examples about how my work executes at the moment and how it deviates from corporate versus CEO versus company. This is a post from just a few weeks ago. It's just a photo of something that says 2-drink minimum. Little sign of the bar, 2-drink minimum. That's all that gets previewed. 16,000 impressions. Why? Because the intrigue of that post is so high. What was it about? It was about the fact that I was sitting in a bar that represents data, and sitting on the table, I was being prompt injected to go get 2 drinks at the bar. I didn't fall for it, or did I? I don't know. But it was a good analogy for the intermingling of data and instruction, and it worked. Meanwhile, my CEO is talking about the last time he was sitting on a panel, very corporate, talking about AI conferences. Did very well, great interaction, fantastic. We are running in parallel on 2 different tracks with 2 very different tones to 2 very different personas. And then you have the mix. Post-launch example, we have me talking to camera, hosted by the company, reposted by the CEO. Now we're hitting everything at once. I'm playing ball with the persona that is more the C-suite. I'm explaining a larger scale problem. In this case, it's about agents. It's being broadcast to the company, but it's being repeated on the personal network of David. So once we bring it all together, now we can't do this in stealth, but we can start building up this. Quick pitfalls before I go into a real quick takeaway. Founder syndrome. If you're new and you're trying to build something up, you might find a very brave pre-launch voice. We can do anything. We got nothing to lose. We don't even have funding yet. Woo! And you might write all of your mission statements and all of the pre-homework I said down. And then the moment you launch, you kind of freak out. This is another good reason to have an advocate in your arsenal, because the things you want to say that you're thinking, oh God, this might get me AI canceled. Give it to your advocate, because they have the freedom to say things that are a bit more hot take-ish that can feed back into your community and build that trust. This person is not afraid to do that. And then the second one, try to avoid vanity metrics. I know that post I had that had a lot of reach looked amazing, but where it failed is that it didn't incite a conversation. I had 2 comments and a lot of reach. So I accomplished one, but not the other. And oddly, the same thing happened with David. He had a lot of comments, but it was all within his inner circle. So it actually didn't get the reach he wanted. So there is a fine line, and there There are a lot of tools out there that can help you do that. Taplio is a really good tool for looking at LinkedIn posts that seem to accomplish both and trying to emulate them. We're not going to get into tools of the trade, but there are ways to do that. And then, of course, over polishing. Do not be obsessed with perfection. As a CEO, if you're obsessed, if you're concerned about how you write, obviously use AI. It helps. It's your ghostwriter. But I've even established prompts that I write and I document that say, I am the CEO. I am meant to sound professional. This is what I need to do. I'm an expert in blah. And then I just blat out whatever I think comes out of my brain and then give it almost like a system prompt. This is how this needs to sound. I have the same for any persona or any combination of destination, who I am, who my target market is. Am I using an empathic, empathy? Am I using empowerment? Or am I using functionality? And I build prompts that allow me to manipulate my brain dump to fit within everything, all the prep that we did. And that's something you can prepare. But absolutely, you must be consistent. You must be trying to post on LinkedIn every single day. And this is where we're going to get into our simple actionable framework. As a founder, I would say I would only say you can get away with doing twice a week. And some examples are your weekend reflection post. On Monday, you have all weekend and Friday just to have something spinning in your back of your head. Last week, I had 3 conversations that taught me this. Here's what it means that what we're building. You haven't said a single thing about what you're building, but you've talked about some conversations. You showed how you're adapting in the background, and this builds a lot of intrigue. Thursday, establish a little bit more about the problem. Everybody's talking about, let's look at my world, model context protocol. The problem is that nobody mentions that this is just a symptom of agentic. So I could adapt this format into something that is my epiphany of the week. Where does hype hit the road? What's the signal in my noise that I've got this week? And as a founder, I guarantee you probably have one of these at least once a week, if not consistently in your conversations that you're having. In parallel, you have your advocate practitioner. We have a slightly edgier voice. We have a little bit more freedom. Tuesday, I throw a hot take out there. People think AI red teaming is too late. It's not. It's step 1, not step 5. Why are you trying to secure something you don't understand? Go out there and learn more about it. I could do a community builder post. I could talk about my builders and said, hey, have you ever dealt with this? Have you ever dealt with your one model making another one hallucinate? I had this exact problem. And I said, I got 2 models talking and it took about 5 seconds before they were just completely in nonsense land. How did you stop that from happening? And then finally, for me, my weekend task, and advocates, trust me, they love it. Don't think like it's work. They'll even work on the weekend. What's the technical snack tipper video or talk to camera that they'll do for you to build a personal brand for your advocate? And this is true. I did use Replit to build a chatbot. I attacked it. It was terrible. Some of the tools that enable us to move fast are tools that enable us to move as fast in a very dangerous way. More examples like that. This is what your advocate will easily satisfy this. And now you've got something almost every single day, and you've got a large piece of credibility that is generated over the course of a weekend. I actually like releasing things like this on Saturdays because amazingly, people get bored on Saturdays. The kids are taking a nap. You know what? I'm going to open my phone and I'm going to look and see what Philip did. It's a reality. This is all, and you never ever need to talk about the product. Never. You're just going to slowly build what is essentially a latent community. And that is our last takeaway. Latent to engaged. How do I convert the masses? We did it. We have this latent community where we've been working for 3 months. We posted every single day, and we're approaching launch. I need to make a plan. We need to convert those likes, connections, and our broadcast into a more engaged community. And there's a variety of ways of doing this. One, you can start getting with more engagement. Start asking questions, because as you approach launch, depending on where your product is, you probably are making some serious product direction changes right now. Try and find a way of obfuscating those into polls and prompts that produce micro engagement on key product features that you're trying to iron out before launch. They'll feel like they're they'll feel like they're building your product with you. Create the LinkedIn newsletter. I know there's 20,000 of them I'm subscribed to already. But the people who love you after those 3 months will sign up. and they will follow, and that will build a recurring touch point for you. It's actually really easy to build a newsletter. It used to be hard. I had one ages ago. Now I can construct one thanks to Perplexity or deep research in a few minutes that is a repeating pattern and is actually pretty good with human, editing and curating. Not done as often as I would like, but as you start to approach your launch and you've got your community and maybe you've got a few key people that are really engaged, bring them into a LinkedIn Live like this. Josh is leading by example. Explore the why in a shared space with new voices that can give you feedback. And you still haven't talked about your product yet. All you're talking about is the problem. People can kind of figure it out, but by this point, you want them to figure it out, really. You're just not telling them exactly what it is. And then finally, you're probably at the same time working at your beta tester group. Get them all round up into a Slack or a Discord so that you've got an ongoing community to build upon afterwards. Once you do launch, you can make the Slack public, and all of your users will start to flood into there so they can have conversations with your engineers and each other so that they can make you and themselves better. Okay, that is the end. I hope I got that done in 15 minutes, Josh. That's what you told me I had. Final overarching statement: community is not your go-to-market strategy. It's just your go-to-market strategy. It's the stay in market strategy. I think Josh coined that.
I'm not sure that I did. But Steve, excellent. Thank you. Thank you on so many levels. One, yeah, let's just give a muted or if you turn your mic on. Yeah, exactly. There you are, Philip.
I'm used to muted applause.
There we are. So just to go in and stick to format, one of the ideas in these weekly presentations is that we just take 30 minutes and we just focus on strong content. And now here comes the separation between everyone that can join us on LinkedIn Live, who are welcome to stick around, and those people who are part of the group right now. And that is, if you want to stick around, Steve has graciously offered to do a little bit of Q&A. So jump in, don't let me call on you, and yeah, whomever it is that wants to ask a question or just sing his praises. One at a time, though.
I
Yeah,
have a question for you, Steve, because I'm actually interested about the newsletter. How useful do you actually find the newsletter? Because I tend to very often subscribe to a newsletter, go through 2 or 3 weeks, and then unsubscribe because I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just like broken or something, but I struggle to stay in touch, and I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's like a lot of people that are doing this. So like how like effective have you actually found a newsletter to be? Because I'm debating starting one, but looking at myself, I'm like, I don't want to send out a newsletter to people who don't read it, you know?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Well, the newsletter is only as good as its differentiation, I think, personally. Like, there are thousands of newsletters out there, and I was going through the idea of empowering people or educating people. If all I'm doing is collating the latest articles about AI, I've already got 25. They've got Superhuman or something. I've already got one that does a better job of that. If I understand that one of the big gaps in the market is education, and my newsletter is going to be about how do I bring you up to speed with a very small, here's my 3 links for today that's going to bring you up to speed on what's happening in AI. Something that has a very opinionated and unique perspective, then I'm going to stay subscribed to that. Now that's a whole other webinar about LinkedIn, about newsletter design, but
so opinionated and quite niche is kind of the way to go.
I think opinionated first and niche second. But yeah, I mean, if you're building a startup, I hope you're in some kind of niche, because there was clearly a problem that nobody was solving so badly that you decided to do it yourself.
For sure.
Hey, Steve, it's Daniel. Just quick question. What's been your tips for keeping consistency? That's been one of my struggles. I go through months where I post every day, and then the last 6 weeks I've been so busy that I sort of dropped the ball.
Yeah, funny. there's a, well, other than just, it's hard to have personal discipline, particularly if you're a founder, because you're going to get dragged away. And that is where I mentioned ghostwriting. I think almost every CEO I know starts doing their own thing. And then eventually, to keep that momentum going, they need somebody who is in control of their social media and is going and is really just showing you the post. I put this post in your voice. I'm about to put it out. You cool? And you're like, yep, good. I didn't have to spend an hour thinking about that. I had to spend 1 minute looking at it. I like it. It's relevant. It's in response to something that just happened last night. Perfect. Do it. So there is a moment where I think that's a huge benefit. And I think it's a largely underestimated power within the startup community, because there's a lot of people out there that will do this for you. I have a friend who specifically does this for CEOs in startups, amplifies the founder and maintains consistency for them, because they know it's a difficult thing to make happen. Cool.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. I want to ask this question on behalf of Kareem. He joined on the LinkedIn Live, even though he's a member. So he writes great content, and he's interested for Steve, what do you think of the strategies in relation to generational segments? So he's saying this feels relevant for Gen X and older Y, but if your brand targets Gen Z, how do these strategies adapt?
Oh yeah, all right. I didn't say anything about Instagram or YouTube stories or sub 1 second conversational pieces. Those are absolutely mission critical to hit the people. I mean, give you an example. The one second from last startup I was at, our engineering team, which was based in Bangalore, I believe, straight up said in a meeting, I will never read any of your blogs. I probably will never read a LinkedIn post that is beyond 3 lines. He goes, but I will doom scroll and let you find me via the algorithm on Instagram, and I will read your carousel. So it is very much a case of meeting them where they are. LinkedIn is great for decision makers because they live in that space. Anybody over 35 is probably very much all about LinkedIn. Everybody under 35, you will find them. My Instagram, every second thing is an AI thing. I didn't even try for that. It just happens. And yeah, the algorithm works. And I think there's a real advantage to making sure that you explore all forms of media. I think that sometimes CMOs or fractional CMOs or heads of marketing need convincing, because they are often in the over 35 group. And it's like, I think there's a real power in influencing the children of the CEOs that you're trying to communicate, so that when you say, when they go home and they said, I had a really good conversation with Replexus today. And the kids go, oh yeah, their Instagram's awesome. And it's like, yeah, cool. So I think, yeah, it's about media choices.
One thing I want to appreciate on that one is recognizing that there's many ways to touch the person that you're going after, the persona that you're going after. Mm-hmm. And some of them might seem circuitous, but when we think about what it is that influences people, it's not logic. They just justify via logic. But if they're hearing that cacophony of positive voices, or that, I guess, surround sound of positive voices, that does have ultimate influence. So another one from LinkedIn Live, this is for Javed. For someone bootstrapping while working part-time, are there any tools that can save time on LinkedIn, like scheduling posts?
Oh, well, there's tons. I almost want to bring Philip in the conversation. He's quite good at this kind of stuff. HubSpot is cheap, but even cheaper. There are so many tools out there. Taplio, I mentioned Taplio. I like Taplio because it lets you research based on your subject matter what posts are doing amazing right now, but also at the same time you can use it to schedule posts. That's fine. There are a half dozen other ones that I find I always need 2 or 3, because some will do LinkedIn, and then others will do Blue Sky, and some of them newer, or Mastodon and the newer formats. But it seems like nothing does everything now. Philip, you look like you're gonna
I'm
sort
going
here.
to jump in. I'm not sure. Okay, don't take my word for it, but Hootsuite maybe does all of them.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I think they've got a pretty large array of social media that they work with, and I think they constantly expand. So last time I used Hootsuite, it ticked all the boxes, but don't take my word for it now.
Okay, cool. There we go.
All right. Still sticking to the format. If anyone has any questions, I don't know if Steve will stick around. Otherwise, please do follow Steve. As you can tell, he's an expert on this type of content, and he's also doing interesting work each day. So I'm always appreciating your post, Steve, and this for that reason, and for the topic you started with. I really appreciate you being our kickoff presentation. Members, love to get your feedback. People on LinkedIn, please rate me, rate Regina, rate Steve, and make this a conversation. So,
All right, thanks. I'll send
Otherwise-
Josh the PDF if you want the slides.
Sure. Thank you.
all right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.